Thank you for tuning into today's episode of Topic Toss. My name is Becca, and as usual, we are here with stories, advice, and some music to pass the time. Today's episode, we are doing Am I the A-Hole yet again? They never disappoint, ever. I'm starting to learn that nobody will ever disappoint in being an a-hole for the rest of my life. But we're going to get straight into it today. Our first story says, Am I the a-hole for kicking my son's girlfriend out of our house? My husband, 58M, and I, 56F, recently met my son, 24M's girlfriend for the first time. He's been crazy about her. Apparently, they've been dating for a year before he decided to have her meet us officially. What he's told us about her all seems great. She just got her degree, was enjoying her job, and is family-oriented, etc. I'm honestly just glad that he's happy with her. My husband and I don't think that he's ever been into someone before, so I feel pretty bad about what I did. Last weekend, he brought her over for dinner. By now, we'd been anticipating meeting her with how much our son has been gushing about her, about how perfect she is and how she's the one, in his words. They rang the doorbell, and we opened the door. She looks exactly like her pictures, which is a great start. My son is grinning ear to ear, another great start. We invite them in, and she accepts my hug and a firm handshake from my husband, and then she opened her mouth to say, I'm the one that your son puts his penis in. To be frank, I was appalled. I expected my husband to laugh. Both he and my son are jokesters, and as annoying as it can be, I love it. But this was just too much for me. Maybe I'm reserved, but of all things she could have shared about my son, she told us that. One look at my face and my husband knew how much I disapproved. Maybe I let my expectations get too high, and it's unfair to have them. But I reiterate, of all things for her to say to her boyfriend's parents, whom she'd never met, she chose that. My son was amused at first, but when he noticed my reaction, his face dropped. I felt like he'd sold me the whole package, everything he'd always been looking for in a girlfriend. I was too disturbed by the visual in my head, and it translated into anger. I told her to get out, and I wanted to say more about how gross it made me feel, but fortunately, I left it at that. My son didn't want to go, insisting that I give her another chance, but I was too fed up and uncomfortable at that point. Even my husband, who enjoyed his fair share of raunchy jokes, wouldn't let up. They left, and I immediately felt guilty. This was something my son was really looking forward to, and I feel like I took that away over a dumb joke. I tried calling to apologize, but he hasn't responded. My husband thinks that she's the one that should apologize. I'm considering giving her another chance, but before I do, am I the a-hole? Edit. My husband had no part in my reaction. I did the kicking out, not him. I don't want him taking the fall for this. He said that she should apologize, but I'm not expecting one. Sorry for that confusion. My son lives in a nearby state, and it can take an hour to get back to where we live. He also hasn't dated anyone seriously for a long time, maybe a couple of years. He told us before that he wouldn't bring anyone home unless he was sure that he wanted a future with her. We've been asking to meet her ever since he told us about her, but he wanted to be ready. Thank you for reaching out, everyone. My son got in touch with me and his girlfriend agreed to try again. We all met at a restaurant and my son and his girlfriend chose. The first thing she said was an apology for what she had said before. I apologized for my reaction and we hugged. It was nice. She then explained how my son had convinced her that a joke like this would land well and that she wouldn't have said it if she didn't think that we'd like it. According to my son, she was reluctant to open with any joke at all, but they came up with that one together on the way over. You guys were right. She's a really sweet girl. She's actually very mature too. I see why my son likes her so much. My husband and I really do like her, and we told our son to bring her when he visits. We look forward to seeing them again, and overall, I'm glad that we could start over on the right foot this time. Thanks everyone for your input. All right, so number one, I don't think that the woman writing this is the a-hole. I couldn't imagine having a child, and I birthed this child, I raised them for years. They come up to me after 24, 25 years of life and say, I met the girl of my dreams, I want you to meet her. And that's how she opens? That's what she says to me? Oh, no. We've got a problem here. I also wouldn't accept that answer as like a hi. Like, that's not a hi response, you know? And on top of it, If anyone is the a-hole, I don't think any of them are, but if anyone is, I think it's the son. I couldn't imagine being that girlfriend and hearing your boyfriend say, "Oh, this is the joke that'll land well." I would have looked at him like he was crazy. Imagine your boyfriend coming up to you and being like, "I know the perfect joke that you can tell my parents the first time you meet them." Literally walking through the door. I'd look at him and be like, "You're so stupid. If you want me to say that, we might as well just break up." Because that is so wild, out of my mind. I can't believe that you would even say that to me. But I am very happy that they got to talking afterwards and that they ended up actually liking each other. But I have the perfect song for this. And the first thing that popped in my mind was "Love Yourself" by Justin Bieber, because there's literally this lyrics of "My mama don't like you and she likes everyone." And it just makes sense for the first part of the story of her being like, "Nope, don't like her. Get out of my house." So I hope you guys enjoy and stick around for the next story. All right, we're going to get right into our second story now. It says, "Am I the a-hole for labeling all of the bottles in the house because my adult children are idiots?" I have two of my children living with me. One has graduated from college and the other is a junior. I have to purchase medicated shampoo because of a scalp condition. It is a prescription and it is expensive. It also comes in packaging that is meant to be stored upright, not on its side, and definitely not upside down. My daughter has her hair products in the shower and I do not touch them. My son also has his Axe body wash, shampoo, conditioner, and woman repellent in the shower. I also do not touch it because I have zero desire to smell like a high school locker room. I keep my shampoo in there as well since it's my house and I can keep my stuff wherever I want. For some reason, the two of them cannot understand that not all packaging is meant to be upside down. They have already wasted an entire bottle of my shampoo by storing it upside down after they touched it for some reason. It all dripped out of the spout, which is not engineered for being upside down. I talked to both of them and I explained that they should not touch my stuff and that if they accidentally tip over my shampoo, that it's meant to be stored with the lid at the top. I came home last week to find my shampoo leaking out of the bottle again, upside down. I ordered 500 stickers that say "this side up" with an arrow pointing towards the words so that they're right side up, and I put them on everything in the house that may leak, with my shampoo being literally covered in them. They had friends over last weekend and they noticed that the relish, ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise, etc. were all labeled. My kids were embarrassed when they explained why, and they think that I'm an a-hole for putting labels on everything since they only messed with my shampoo. Since it's an $80 bottle, I said that I would take off all of the labels if they agreed to pay for my shampoo. Thus far, they have declined. I would feel so bad if I did that to my parents. I genuinely would. If I did that accidentally once, like, it's one thing if it happens once and you don't know. Like, I put bottles upside down all the time, like if they start to run low or something. That's fine. But if it starts to happen more than once after you also told them what happens, like, come on. You're grown enough to know not to do that. So, it happening more than once is a problem. You're grown enough, I would guess, based on ages alone and years in college, that the one in junior year is probably 20 to 21 years old. And the one that's, graduated from college is at least 22. So we're old enough to know, hey, I said that this, leaks if it's put upside down. Then you don't put it upside down. It's as simple as that. And I would be super mad if I was the mom, especially because, like she said, it's $80 a bottle. The least that they could do is say, hey, I'll pay for it. And if I did it once and they told me that, I would be like, every time I was in the shower, I'd be like, oh my God, please tell me it's still standing up. Please tell me it's still standing up. I don't know if that's just an anxiety thing for me, but I definitely would not allow that to happen. And good for you for making your kids feel embarrassed. I'm all for parents trying to do that. My dad tried to do that once. I'll tell you that story. My dad came out on Halloween while I had a bunch of friends over, and he put on this giant pumpkin outfit, And he was like, haha, I'm embarrassing you. And I looked at him. I was like, you're not embarrassing me. You're embarrassing yourself. You're the grown man that's walking around in a giant pumpkin. But I was trying to figure out songs for this one, and I could not think of something. Like, it was so hard for me trying to figure something out for this one. So I was like, okay, let me take a different approach to this. These kids felt embarrassed. Let me think of songs that, like, I'm kind of embarrassed that I like. And I got one. I love this song, and I hate that I love this song as much as I do. And the song that I picked is 1,000 Miles by Vanessa Carlton. I'm sorry. I love that song, and it bothers me so much that I love that one. But when I think of that song, I think of White Chicks, and that is just a lovely, lovely memory to me as a child. I probably shouldn't have been watching that movie as a child, but we're going to go on. I hope you guys enjoyed the song. All right, going into our third story today, we have, am I the a-hole for assuming my friend was keeping her partner away because I didn't like him when actually he didn't like me? I, 38F, have known Allie, 40F, for 15 years. We first met at work when we were both single and the youngest people working there. We became good friends and socialized together and still do. Allie then met her partner Matt, who she is still with today. He does not share the same interests as her, and he is an avid football supporter in the UK and very anti-rival football teams. Even when he doesn't go to watch the matches live, he watches at the pub with male friends. He plays sports with his friends, and she's a football widow. She likes going to the theater and to dinner. He'll go to dinner with her, but doesn't much enjoy the theater unless it's a serious play, and she loves musicals. And she always ends up going with other female friends. She says that she doesn't mind and they aren't joined at the hip, so she has plenty of friends and relatives who enjoy going to the theater with her and that she doesn't want to go to football. No wonder. I am known for being brutally honest, and when she introduced me to Matt, she asked for my opinion and I gave it. I didn't really see them together. I didn't like that he drinks and swears, and he has a professional job but isn't very refined, unlike her, and I find him a bit difficult to connect with. At the time, she was hurt but got over it and generally just engineered it so that I never really saw him. He was always busy when I organized a party, etc. They now have 2 young boys, and he looks after them when she comes out with her friends. To be honest, more recently, my opinion of him has improved, and he seems to be a really good dad to the boys, and they clearly adore him. They are also football mad. It took me longer to meet my significant other, Edward, but now I have, and we just got engaged. Allie and Matt both attended our engagement party. Edward actually also loves football and ended up getting on really well with Matt. Later, I asked Allie if she was up to doing something as couples, as Edward and Matt got on really well. She was non-committal. A few weeks later, I tried to arrange something and she accepted for herself, but Matt was busy. I explained that I wanted to do something with the 4 of us when he was free. She kept stalling and I pushed it. Maybe I shouldn't have. And she said that it wasn't a good idea because he and I didn't get on. I said it was okay and I changed my opinions more recently and Edward liked him. She looked surprised and then awkwardly let me know that it was because he didn't really like me. She thought that I knew. I didn't and I was upset. This was news. I asked her why and she was embarrassed but said that he found me judgmental and too much. I didn't even know what that means. A few other examples as well. I was hurt and told her that I had assumed that she kept us apart because I didn't like him, not the reverse. She said that we didn't get on, so what difference did it make? I'm beyond hurt and I did react badly, and I told her some hard truths about him. I regret this now and tried to apologize, but she won't return my calls. Am I the a-hole? Yeah. Here's the thing. You don't like him, oh well. Like, it doesn't matter if you don't like him. That's the guy that's with your friend. Like, I know one person who's listening to this that's going to be listening really well. You better listen. You know I'm talking to you. Even if you don't like them, you learn to deal with them. And I've done so on different occasions. And at the end of the day, what does it matter? It's not like you're the one dating them. And as long as they're making your friend happy, then that should be that. That's all that matters. And the fact that like didn't do anything. He did nothing to make her not like him. So he kind of was right in the fact that she's kind of judgmental. um but then that doesn't make you the a-hole. Afterwards, when she said, "Oh yeah, he doesn't really like you. I thought you knew." And then you just come out the gate and you're like, "Well, he's like this and this and this, and I told her some hard truths about him." Well, now you are, because now you're reacting badly and being mean to your friend when she didn't do anything, and neither did he. So that's where I would say that you went wrong, and suddenly now you are the a-hole. But I was kind of in a silly, funny mood, and I was looking up songs, and I found "Forget You" by CeeLo Green, and the first line is is "I see you driving around town with the girl I love," and all I can think of is the friend being like, "Forget you." So I hope you guys enjoy and you think of me while you sing that song, because I know you're gonna sing it. You better sing it. I better hear you singing it through these headphones. All right, our next one says, "Am I the a-hole for ruining a proposal at a wedding?" So I, 27M, am a part-time DJ. I mostly DJ for just family and friends, and I'm not really a professional. I just do it for a little side cash from time to time. Last weekend, I got invited to DJ on the cheap at a wedding for a friend of a friend. At the wedding, while everyone was on the dance floor, one of the guests, we'll call him Kevin, approached me and asked if I could play the song "Golden Hour." It was an odd request because at the time all of the guests were hopping around and dancing, but I was told to take all requests, so I did it anyways. When I started playing it, the dance floor started to clear up, and then Kevin invited a woman onto the dance floor. He started slow dancing for a bit, and a few people joined in, including the bride and groom. Then at one part of the song, Kevin got down on one knee, and I knew right away that he was going to propose. I didn't think it was right, especially because they were in the middle of a dance floor with all eyes on them, and I kind of felt like that if this happened, I would take the fault because I was the one that put on the romantic song out of nowhere. So instead of letting that happen, as soon as he pulled out the box, I started to play Boogie and turned up the volume instead. After that, Kevin just side-eyed me and got up, and everyone else sat down. After that, nothing else really happened, and the tension was very thick. After the wedding, no one really brought it up, and I obviously thought that I wasn't the a-hole, and the friend that was friends with the bride said that I wasn't. But then a bunch of families started to message me. It turns out that Kevin was the bride's brother, and the family kept asking why I did that. I told them that proposing at someone else's wedding was not appropriate. They told me that I shouldn't have an opinion because I was just the DJ, and now Kevin got publicly humiliated because some people knew that this was going to happen, so they were all taking videos, and some were live on Instagram, so all of their friends could see. I responded with, "That would have made the newlyweds hurt," and they then came back with, "You shouldn't have assumed that the bride didn't want that." That part got me thinking because I was mostly communicating with the bride about arrangements, and she was very chatty before the wedding, but after that, she kept giving me one-word answers. So I assumed that she was mad at me, but then again, when she paid me, she almost doubled the amount for what I was asking for with a generous tip. So I'm not sure if the bride actually knew. I think she would have told me. But am I the a-hole? All right, here's my thoughts on it. If it was a problem, that's not your fault. A. If it was a problem, then it would be the person who is proposing. And you were told by the bride and groom, "Hey, take all requests from people when they give you requests for songs, and let that be that." Like, if they want to do that, that's on them. And with it being the brother and the family know, so again, the family knew that this was going to happen. People were ready with cameras and video, and people were live on Instagram. If the family knew, it probably wasn't a problem. So if you saw a bunch of people ready with cameras out, then maybe that was a clue that you shouldn't have stopped. And on top of that, like I said before, you're not the one at fault. So at that point, just let it go. Like, don't even put yourself into it. Let the song play. Let whatever chips fall, let them fall where they may, honestly. And because they didn't get to hear the whole song, I love this song. So I think y'all should be able to hear it too. I'm going to play Golden Hour by Jake because it's so beautiful. It's genuinely, I play it probably once a day, every day. I love listening to that song over and over and over again. And I hope you do too. All right, this story says, am I the a-hole for bringing my baby to her sister's performance and not leaving when she cried? This has caused drama that I was not expecting. I have 2 children with my ex-husband Will, Penelope, 12F, and Johnny, 10M. A few years ago, I married Chris, and we have a 6-month-old baby girl named Layla. Penelope and Johnny live primarily with their father as he's closer to their school. They come to us on the weekends. Penelope is in a theater program at her school. I missed the fall show because I was in labor and then had a newborn. Penelope understood as best as a preteen girl can. Her spring show opened last week, and Chris and Layla came with me. Will, Johnny, and Will's wife Ariana were already there. Will saw that I brought Layla, and I got a weird look from him, but Ariana hushed him and said just let it go. Layla slept through the first half. A little before intermission, she woke up and was fussy. I began rocking her and trying to calm her while also watching the play. I got a few dirty looks from parents around me. I gave them a "what can you do" shrug as it's a baby. At intermission, Will suggested Chris take Layla home. I said that she should sleep during the second half, and Chris said that he wanted to watch the performance. Will started getting upset, but again, Ariana had made him walk away. Layla did fall asleep again, but halfway through Act 2, woke up and started screaming. She woke up and started screaming. It was loud enough this time that it caught the performers off guard. I quickly went into the lobby with Layla, and when I tried to go back once she was calmed down, the usher wouldn't let me in, saying that once a person leaves, they're not allowed back in to prevent interruptions, meaning I missed Penelope's solo. Penelope refused to see me after the show, and nor accepted the flowers that we brought for her. I watched her leave with Ariana, who was consoling her. Will met me in the parking lot, and he was mad. He said that I never should have brought Layla, pointing out that he and Ariana got a sitter for their youngest child. I said that I didn't want to leave Layla and that I felt it was good that we all supported her. After missing the fall show, I wanted to be there for my daughter. I added it was just a middle school performance. It isn't the end of the world. He gave me a disgusted look and walked away. Penelope hasn't answered my calls or text. This weekend, she refused to come over. Chris thinks that we were in the right, but my parents are just as mad and called me the a-hole. So, am I the a-hole? You had me in the first half. I'm not going to lie. The first half, I was like, first 2/3, I was like, no, like, it's not your fault. Like, kids are kids, babies especially. Babies are babies, you know? You can't always control them. It's not entirely your fault, that you were trying to console her and make her stop crying, and then the usher wouldn't let you back in. I wouldn't have known that the usher wasn't going to let you back in either. However, then when they come up to you and he says, hey, you should have left her. First of all, you saying, oh, we all wanted to support her. How's the baby going to support her? How is the baby going to support her? That baby's doing nothing, okay? She wasn't going to miss out, A. And B, when you said it's just a middle school performance, it isn't the end of the world, terrible mom. You instantly get a-hole and terrible mom stamped on your forehead. How dare you? First of all, you missed the first one by means that were not your fault. And then now you got the second one? Really? Like, yes, you're the a-hole. I will not allow any other assumptions be made of you. And thinking about songs, I was trying to think of songs where, like, kids are disappointed with their parents. And one just, like, clicked for me. And it's Piece by Piece by Kelly Clarkson. In the song, she's talking about, her disappointment in her father and how, him leaving caused a big impact in her life, and how in the future she hopes that her husband will be there for their child and knows that, like, she chose the right person. And I hope for this child's sake that in the future they also feel that way of being like, you know what, my mom wasn't there for me, I'm going to be there. And that's it. So I hope you guys enjoy and stick around for our last story today. Okay, so our last one makes me real upset today. I'm not going to lie. It says, "Am I the a-hole for calling my ex a deadbeat in front of his family? I, 41F, have a daughter, Sam, 14F, with my ex-husband, Brian, 44M. We divorced when she was 4. Brian made a real effort to be a good father in the first couple years after our divorce, but then pretty much overnight he seemed to lose interest in her. He stopped coming to parent-teacher nights, he never came to any of her sports events, and stopped asking about them. He refused to pay child support, which I eventually stopped asking for since I have a well-paying job, and would forget to pick Sam up on days where he said that he would, and he even stopped asking to see her on holidays. On the rare occasions he remembered to pick her up, he would try and smooth everything over by buying her expensive gifts, and it worked for a really long time, but it's starting to wear off now, and Sam is starting to see through it. Sam has maintained a very close relationship with her paternal grandparents. Sam is a very accomplished field hockey player and represents our country internationally recently, and it's likely that she will be in the World Championship team later this year. We returned 2 days ago, and yesterday her grandparents wanted to take her and the family out to lunch to celebrate. Brian showed up 45 minutes late and didn't apologize. His parents were surprised and told him to behave. As Sam was recounting her time and summaries of the matches to her grandparents, Brian interjected and belittled her performance because she only scored 1 goal. Sam bursted into tears and ran to the bathroom. I comforted her and she asked if we could go home. I agreed and told her to wait in the car while I got my stuff. When I returned to the table, Brian was defending himself against his parents, and I snapped. I told him that he was a deadbeat and recounted all of the things mentioned above, and that I wouldn't be surprised if Sam cut him loose one day. Our daughter is wonderful and does not deserve to be treated like this. His parents seemed shocked, as he clearly had given them the impression that he's been a good father. He threw a tantrum and stormed out. I apologized and left money for my half of the check with his parents. Since then, Brian has sent me several messages, and his parents texted me that they don't appreciate the scene I caused at the restaurant. I don't think I did anything wrong, but my parents agree with them, so maybe I did. Am I the a-hole? Heck to the no. How dare he, first of all? You're going to be like she said, you're going to be a deadbeat dad to begin with. And then on top of that, then when she has an accomplishment, you're going to say something bad about her in front of your parents? What kind of a man does that make you? Like, does that make you feel like a man? Like, how dare you? And on top of that, then you're over here making yourself look like the good guy? No, that's not going to fly around here. That is not going to fly around here. I am very happy. As sad as I am, I'm very happy that you were able to let it out and tell people, obviously, what he's hiding, because he's making himself look like a great person, and it's very obvious that he's not. So I was thinking of songs, and one instantly clicked for me, and it was ABCDEFU by Gail, because I can just imagine this poster being like, I hate you, I hate your mom, I hate your family, I hate your dog, I hate it all. So I hope you guys enjoy our last song today, and stick around for our little goodbyes. All right, so that is all for today. I hope that you guys have enjoyed our stories and songs. As per usual, you can find all of the links to these stories on my YouTube, and you can come back, another time. This may be my last show for this semester now that we're getting into finals and stuff's going to start wrapping up soon. So I'm not sure if we're going to come back this semester, but hopefully I'll be back next semester, and you can continue to watch these on YouTube. And If you want to listen again, if you're on radio, this does come out at 7 p.m. tonight on YouTube. And I hope you've had a good week. Goodbye.